In this episode, we'll be talking about when to walk away. Sometimes no is the best thing to say. In this segment, we'll be talking about why people say yes to bad deals, the best negotiating position to be in, how to say no, and checking your back doors. Stay tuned. Some people say yes to bad deals because they simply don't know they're bad deals. In order to say no, you have to know you have a bad deal first and foremost. It really helps a lot. So, check out your comps. Are the comps that you're looking at or the comps you've been presented with, are they really comps? Is it really apples to apples? Are the houses and the values that they're giving you for those houses, are those houses really comparable to the house that you're thinking about buying? That's key. Also, one big factor that you can't see by looking at the houses side by side, are they in the same school district? You'd be surprised how many times house A, identical to house B, is worth twice as much because it's in a different school district. And that's not something you can see with the naked eye. And just because someone's done some research and puts it out in front of you, doesn't mean they've done a good job on the research. So you must trust but verify and make sure that you go through and you reason every single comp to see if it's a true fit. A lot of times, and I see this a lot, young investors just jump into deals because they're just eager to get into a deal. And that's not a good reason to say yes to any deal. You have to say yes to deals because they're going to make you money. And don't ever forget in this business, you need large margins because a lot of things can happen in this business. Would it surprise you if I told you every time I pencil out a deal on paper and there's this number of how much I'm going to make, it starts moving backwards. That profit moves backwards. Every second, every minute of every day I hold that house. I don't know exactly how it works or why it works that way, but it's some kind of natural law of real estate investing. From the very minute you get into a deal, your profit starts moving backwards. That's also why we not only need large margins, but we need to move quickly. In general, nothing good happens to us between the time we buy a property and the time we sell it. It's usually something negative in between. So the less time we can make in between, the better off we are. So before we get on to the last two topics for this episode, if you've got questions, please feel free to submit them. And hit that like button and subscribe. If we're helping you out, we're pointing out things that you haven't really thought of, there's a whole lot more to come. Hit that like button and subscribe, and please share us to all your friends. Another thing to know when walking away from a deal is how to say no. You never want to say no where it burns the bridge. You need to say no so there's always a way to come back. And that's a lot different than, this is my offer, take it and leave it. Or, I will not accept your offer, we're done, goodbye. That's not how you leave it. You always say, man, I'm doing the best I can. I can't think of any other way that I can do this deal except for this. So if you can't do this, unless I can think of something else, I'll have to say no right now. But you left them thinking, I might still come up with something. And I might still come up with something. I might come up with a better price, So I always want to leave the door open. Let's face it, we all know that the person who has the upper hand in a negotiation is the person who cares less or doesn't need whatever's being negotiated for. The one who needs less is the winner. So one thing I've learned from a lot of master negotiators, you have to walk away from the deal at least once to figure out where the bottom is. If you don't walk away at least once, you'll never know if you could have pushed a little harder. Because the walk away is how you make the opponent or the adversary throw their hands up and go, okay, don't leave. I'll do the price you suggested. So one of the favorite things I like to do when I'm negotiating, trying to get a house for the least amount of money, is I like to go up to someone and say, look, I don't know if this is going to work for you or not, but all I have in my IRA is this much. I could give it all to you, but that's all I have. And it's against the rules for me to add to it or borrow or do anything else. This IRA has to buy it on its own. And that's the only reason I'm offering you such a low price, is because that's all there is in there. So they don't feel like I'm trying to ram a deal onto them. There's a reason why I'm offering the low price. And then I can always come back in later and say, I like the house so much, I'm not even going to buy it with my IRA. I found someone else to loan me some money. I'm going to do it. But I'm walking away at that point to see if they'll settle for my very, very, very low offer. If they don't, then like I said, I can always come back. But that's how you say no. You always say no in such a fashion that you can always come back. So when do you walk away? You walk away when there's no profit in the deal. You walk away when there's not enough profit to be worth your time. You walk away if it's not in your wheelhouse. And for some reason, it's got complications that are beyond you right now. And last but not least, sometimes you walk away because your gut says to walk away. Always trust your gut. The sooner you start to listen to what your insides are telling you, I'm going to guess the sooner you'll be a better investor. I learned to go with my gut the hard way many moons ago. And I actually started making note of people that I was selling my houses to that I felt in my gut I was going to have a problem with. They checked all the boxes, they made it through all the criteria, and they were fine as far as the paperwork said, but I didn't like them. And so I started going to my central administrator and going, I want you to mark this file. I know that they passed everything they're supposed to pass to be able to get into my house, but I'm telling you this person's going to be a problem, and I want to see if my gut's right. Well, house after house after house that I had marked those files, I was right. It took a little time, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, but I was always right on those houses. And so I started to pay attention to my gut more and more because my gut proved to be pretty accurate. To avoid a lot of amateur mistakes, wouldn't it help if you could talk to a pro once a week? You know, my organization has a Tuesday night Q&A call. And if you're a member and can call in on Tuesdays, you can ask any question you want, and there's all kinds of people on the line. Sometimes I have the answer, sometimes other people on the line have the answer. There's a lot of smart people on this call, and we're all getting smarter by the minute. You know why? Because we're sitting down once a week and we're talking about issues and opportunities that happen in the real estate investing business. You know, we have this call once a week, about 40 weeks out of the year, and it's at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time on every Tuesday. And if you want to check into that call, just click on the link right there. There's a sample of one of the calls, and you'll see how those calls feel, how they ebb and flow, what we're talking about, and I think you'll get excited about being part of that group. Wouldn't it be great to be able to talk to some pros once a week about whatever it is you're trying to do that week? Whatever it is, you might get some pretty awesome insights. So if you learned when to walk away during this episode, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you really want to do us a favor and you know somebody that these episodes might help, please hit that share button. We'll see you on the next episode.